Something I think about quite a lot is the Christmas tree from A Charlie Brown Christmas. It's a beautiful little metaphor that can be applied to a lot of things in life. Finding the beauty in things, loving the seemingly unlovable. In a lot of ways, people have carried this forward into games they've tried to fix over the years. Mods to patch up games like Skyrim, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, and so on. That's not to say these games are necessarily bad, but just that other people saw something special in them and want them to shine so others can see it too. Perhaps the most fascinating case study in this is 2006's Sonic the Hedgehog, everyone's favorite dead horse. But fans for years now have made attempts to give it new coats of paint, be it to help it realize its fullest potential, or just give a new take on its ideas. Some of these are small little affairs, others a bit more expansive and have been years-long efforts. They've taken on all sorts of forms too, so I wanted to take some time to take a look at some of them. The earliest 06 fan project I can find is Sonic 2K6 2D by Blaze Hedgehog, a sort of demake of the game in the style of the Sonic Advance games, released originally in 2006, and the most recent refined release in 2011. It's not the whole game, it's only Kingdom Valley, Wet Acropolis, the Silver Boss, and an extra level based on Sand Oasis from Secret Rings on top of a mission mode. But what is here is a lot of fun. The 8-directional air dash is an incredibly smart and fun addition that I really hope future 2D Sonic games adapt. The source code has been out there for a little more than a decade now too, meaning if you want to poke around with it, that's totally an option for you. Just don't go releasing anything as your own. You know, standard indie game etiquette. Another that comes to mind is, as it happens, another Sonic 2006 2D project by Bad Dog 2002. This time far more faithful to Sonic 06 as it was, and having the complete story for Sonic, released also in 2011. This one, on top of being all of Sonic's levels and bosses, is an incredibly faithful translation of the original game into 2D, for better and for worse. It's a very interesting, almost alternate universe feeling version of the game. Similar to the last project, it's a Sonic-only affair, but that doesn't take away from just how impressive it is, and is well worth checking out. Sonic Generations modding, once upon a time, was huge. To some degree, it still is. But one of the larger scale mods to date is the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 project by Ryan U. Sonic. If you're familiar with the Unleashed project, this is like a Sonic 06 version of that, complete with an 06 style retooling of Generations hub world. It's certainly impressive and ambitious, but when it comes down to it, I can't help but find it slightly awkward in practice. The levels went through significant retooling to work in a drastically different engine and gameplay style, and it doesn't always translate super well. It's not bad or anything, just a little clumsy feeling in places. I still highly recommend checking it out, because the sheer amount of work and passion absolutely shines through in this.
Shadow, don't be late!
Sonic 06, The Legacy of Solaris, headed by Jotaro Powered. At this point, it's hard to give this one a proper introduction because it's become so large. It's sort of taken on a life of its own. There have been a lot of mods and fan-made patches for 06 over the years to implement unused content, fix various bugs, and so on. But Legacy of Solaris is perhaps the larger scale effort of that yet, implementing a litany of fixes, cut content, and even some overhauls and completely new spins on the levels and controls to bring it in more line with the likes of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. It was actually a little hard for me to adjust to, not because it's bad, quite the opposite. I'm just so used to 06's idiosyncrasies that even the best of these projects have an adjustment period. It's an incredibly impressive and ambitious project, and being able to play it on real Xbox 360 hardware definitely has its own special novelty. But therein lies the problem. Being a mod for 06 inherently makes it less accessible than other entries on this list. It's true that emulation for these systems has come a long way, and is far easier than modding your console, but it's still just complicated enough to set up that it's a bit harder to fully recommend to the average person, at least over other projects here. Still, if you can get it up and running, it's super interesting and well worth checking out. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Sonic Robo Blast 2. If you aren't, it's a fan-made Sonic game built in the Doom Legacy engine. It's been in development for a really long time now and has sort of taken on a life of its own. It has its own dedicated modding community, creating new characters, levels, and so on. Like Sonic Generations, many of these mods recreate levels from older titles, and Sonic 06 is no exception. In the near 20 years the game has been out, there have been a few different modders trying to port over levels, but the most expansive of these is likely the Sonic 2006 Extended port, submitted by Michael Blur and with many other names credited. It's not a total recreation, more of a reimagining with a new level and boss design. It's not by any means a replacement for the original game or the definitive way to play or anything, but it's interesting to see 06 reimagined to fit a drastically different engine. Which is where we get into the realm of from the ground up remakes, ways to experience 06 built natively for PC, something we were originally fated to have, but the absolute hellish development didn't allow for. There have been two major scale efforts in this field, one honed by Gistix and one by Chaos X. Gistix's remake, Sonic Next, is something of an anomaly, and by that I mean calling it Gistix's alone is somewhat inaccurate, as the project eventually changed hands to Mi Firesuit, who carried the project to its closure. The game is a ground-up remake of 06, feeling eerily close to the original game at points, in some ways good, in other ways not so much. There are various in-development screenshots floating around of the game, but what's publicly available is the first section of Sonic's Kingdom Valley, Sonic's Dusty Desert, and the whole of Sonic's Crisis City. To be honest, this one becomes harder and harder to recommend as time goes on, because the cracks in the foundation become more and more apparent as years pass. The endeavors seem to be more of a straight port of 06, warts and all, and introduces some of its own problems. This is especially noticeable in the Crisis City demo, which has incredibly heavy gravity for some baffling reason, and bloom that feels all too similar to Sonic Colors Ultimate. The project was eventually cancelled and hasn't seen any updates in years. In the process of making this video, Gistix's channel has been terminated, so his uploads are lost unless someone has managed to archive them. The big one that's been the talk of the town for a minute now is Sonic Project 06, helmed by Chaos X. This, like Sonic Next before it, is a ground-up remake in the Unity engine, and the constant praise comes for a good reason. This game feels more like the Sonic Adventure evolution and it was always intended to be, featuring graphical improvements, new animations, making the whole thing feel a lot faster, improvements to the control and handling, new chunks of level design, re-implementing the scoring system from Adventure 2. We'd be here all day if I went over all the updates, changes, and improvements PO6 makes. At this point, you don't need me to tell you how good it is, because I'm far from the first person to make that observation. The game currently has all the levels from the 3 main campaigns, each Hedgehog's E3 version of Kingdom Valley, on top of Silver's E3 Crisis City. The last episode with all the bosses is coming up on the horizon, something I'm incredibly excited for. PO6 is the easiest recommendation on this list, and I still do believe there is value in playing the original. Beyond the argument of game preservation, KSX has stated he isn't planning on implementing the cutscenes, hub worlds, or town missions. While there's certainly a lot to say about the quality of these, it is still content in the game that won't be present as a late last-minute addition to the script. But this is where things get interesting. If you remember Sonic Unleashed Recompiled from earlier this year, the team behind that project open-sourced the tools they used to make that possible. In theory, this makes other recompilations of other Xbox 360 games possible. Unleashed in particular, however, was done by people deeply familiar with the Hedgehog engine, after years and years of modding Sonic Generations, so it wouldn't be realistic to expect many other recompilations to be done as quickly as that one. Great efforts are being made, however, to recompile Sonic 06. A lot like Sonic Unleashed, emulation has been possible for a while, as we've discussed, but obviously a native port is always, 100% of the time, going to run better than emulation. How this will materialize, we don't know yet, but I'll be sure to come back to this and let you know. Who knows, maybe it'll even make mods like Legacy of Solaris more accessible in a best case scenario. There have certainly been a lot of other 06 inspired mods over the years, some porting levels to other games, some characters and concepts. While 06 is beyond a dead horse at this point, it seems to be seeing something of a turnaround in recent years, with more people turning their eyes to it in a more positive manner. I doubt it'll ever be seen as some hidden gem, all-time classic like other titles in the franchise, but clearly there's something people have seen in it for them to keep coming back to it to really make the game shine, and that's worth something. It serves to reaffirm my belief that maybe 06 isn't so bad, it just needs a little love. Hey everyone, Saturn here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, because this was one I wanted to put together for a while now, since we're rapidly approaching 06's 20th anniversary, which is kind of wild to think about. If you liked the video, leave a like and comment down below telling me your thoughts. If you want to see more videos like this one, why not subscribe and ring the notification bell? If you want to support the show even further, I have a Ko-fi page where donations go as little as $1. If you can't donate or just don't want to, that's fine, I get it. It's tough out there right now for everyone, and it's only getting tougher. Just watching the video means more to me than you know. Regardless of all that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you around.